All right, welcome everyone to our another virtual education event. Aurelis Cortez here, the event coordinator for Turning Point Breast Cancer Rehabilitation. We're so glad that you've taken time to join us this morning. We're going to be discussing the topic on healthy eating through the holidays with our dietitian, Lisa. And before we get started, just some housekeeping information. So this will be recorded. We will upload this on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. So if you're not able to stay on the whole time, we'll make sure that it's posted on there and you can watch it later. We are now in a webinar format, so it's different from how we used to do things. So you can't just openly talk, but you can feel free to ask questions. Just please put them in the Q&A. And we'll make sure we have some time at the end for a Q&A. So we'll make sure to get your questions to Lisa and we'll ask them there. If you have any comments, again, just use the Q&A and I'll be monitoring that throughout our time today, this morning. So before we get started, our socially responsible partners, we just always want to make sure to give them a shout out because they make it possible for us as a nonprofit to be able to bring these events, these topics to you in person. At some point, we'll get back to in person, but right now, virtually, these are some of our socially responsible partners. We have more that we will be adding to this list. And these are companies and also individuals that have done fundraisers for Turning Point. And we're so grateful for them as a 501c3. These fundraisers mean a whole lot to us. As well, as you guys know, because we are a nonprofit, we do survive off of donations. So we always mention if you're enjoyed the program today and you want to make a donation, feel free to do so. Just go to our website, myturningpoint.org, and you can donate any amount that you want there. So that's it for me. We'll go ahead and get started. I'll turn it over to Lisa.
Okay. All right. So welcome everybody. Two things I just realized as I'm sitting here listening to this is that it's Friday the 13th, 2020, and nothing bad is going to happen with this lecture. Nothing bad, I promise. And it was just brought to my attention that today is World Kindness Day. And so I found a quote and it says, if you can't be kind, then just be quiet. So let's just spread the kindness. On Friday the 13th of 2020, it's been a crazy roller coaster of a year. But with that being said, this is kind of cool because we can connect and still have these great presentations when we're all over the state, all over. I'm actually in Houston right now, just moving into a new house, and that's why I'm sitting on the floor with a chair in front of me. That's all I have. But so enough of that. We're just going to talk about the holiday and holidays start. This weight gain, we gain weight during the holidays. Why do we gain weight? Well, there's so many different reasons, but the holidays actually start at Halloween, because Halloween is that Halloween candy. And it's like, oh my gosh, I love Baby Ruth. I don't eat Baby Ruth all year round. And here we are, I'm going to give my trick-or-treaters Baby Ruth candy bars. And then, I only have 3 trick-or-treaters. So I'm going to go ahead and eat these Baby Ruth candy bars. That's me. So anyway, so it starts then. It's kind of that mindlessness that starts to come into play. And really through the holidays, all we need to do, all I'm going to say, and probably a million times over, is that we just need to be mindful. I'm not a dietitian to sit here and say, you must not do this and you cannot do that and you don't, because, if I tell you not to, it kind of, makes you want it even more. So let's just go over some things. This little slide on here, I thought it was just kind of fun and interesting. It's just like, what is the cost of a plate, or like on Thanksgiving, I know Thanksgiving to me is family, it's friends, it's comfort. This during the COVID, I know we might not be getting together with family, with friends, but we have that comfort in our food, and we should continue that. But we're just going to think about it a little bit differently than just go willy-nilly. It's Thanksgiving, so I have pumpkin pie only once a year. So instead of having a slice, we're gonna have the whole pie. Just different things like that. So these are fun because in later on we're gonna probably, I'm gonna try to come back to this one when we talk about something else. So just get a good, find your favorite on there. I have all of those are my favorite actually, but That's what Thanksgiving's all about. So what we need to do. All right, some little common tricks of the trade, real easy, real simple, okay? So first things first, you never, ever skip exercise, or skip meals, I should say. You're skipping. I'm just talking from experience from when I grew up, and I just watched my mom and my family, and we would all get together, but my mom would starve herself, no breakfast, no lunch, and we would have this huge, enormous meal at like 3 o'clock. So it's best really, because what will happen if we're starving ourselves or not eating, we have a tendency to overeat anyway. And then we're overeating with all these comfort foods. It makes it even more, logically we're thinking, oh, it's great. I didn't eat breakfast, so I have extra calories now. So we should never skip a meal. Your meals should be the same, actually. Your breakfast should be breakfast. A good breakfast should contain a carbohydrate, a protein. Healthy fats would be perfect. So something like some yogurt, some Faya yogurt, with some berries and some chia seeds and a couple of walnuts. Done. It doesn't have to be extravagant. It has to be big. Just something in your stomach to kind of really get that metabolism going. So that's the biggest thing that people run into trouble, is that they skip that meal. And not only calorically, but if we think about that big dump of a meal, especially that heavy meal, that rich meal, that amazing meal at Thanksgiving, I always tell people to think of it like, a snake, and he swallows an egg, and like that egg just it just takes forever to digest. So it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of work for your stomach to get dumped. Think about this. Your stomach is the size of your own fist. So that's about the size of my stomach. That's it. So that's after chewing. So it's about a cup to a cup and a half volume. And we look at our plates, and that's all I need to say. Okay. So we're all guilty of that, but think about the extra work that your system has to do just to digest the meal. All right. So this is one thing that I keep going back to that's all I know is what I grew up in my experience. So we need a rainbow of color. We didn't really have much color on our plates when I grew up. I just remember turkey and gravy and my favorite mashed potatoes. I mean, I could eat pounds of those, and gravy and dressing, and those are all kind of the brown. We would have the green bean casserole, which is kind of a little bit of green, but mucked with all the cream of mushroom soup. So what I say is, let's try to pull in some more color of the rainbow. And how we get that is in the sense of fruits and vegetables. So there's no reason that at Thanksgiving that we can't introduce a fruit. We can have a fruit salad, something that's very simple. It doesn't have to be very complicated. Our vegetables should be there. Our standard vegetables when I grew up, it was like corn, and I said the green bean casserole, but there was never anything else outside of that rainbow. So what we need to do with that is just try to pull in as much as we can. If you don't want to serve it with that meal, if we can remember a rainbow of color, pull those in the morning at your breakfast. I said, eat some berries, eat something great at breakfast. We really shouldn't go, if you're going to eat breakfast, you should have something within that 5-hour window. Don't eat breakfast at 7 and then have your huge meal at 3. That's too much of a gap in calories or consumption or fuel. So in between there, maybe you should have that snack, and that snack then could be maybe your color of your rainbow at that point. So pull them in as much as you can that day. Okay. I always like people, and I always do this. You serve one healthy option. You should take one healthy option, serve it, have it there. This is just a bunch of cut up vegetables. I like to, when people come over and everyone's just around the kitchen, you're finishing the last of your gravy and mashing the potatoes, and people are always, they're munching. Okay. And so to have something like this instead of some of the higher calorie, one, you're going to eat some that it's going to help fill that void, the stomach, fill it up a little bit, so you hopefully won't overeat in the back end. Two, you're going to pull in those nutrients. So even though we know that meal is going to be higher calorie, higher everything, we're going to actually make it a little bit better prior to. At the meal, you can, that green bean casserole, there are many recipes that change that up, that make it a healthier option. But again, that is like that green bean casserole. Unfortunately, that is a memory for me. And we serve it. We serve it every year, But I also serve Brussels sprouts, fresh, just steamed, none, I call them unadulterated, just steamed, and I put them on there. And so that's what we're talking about, is just trying to pull something that's a healthier option in there. And with that, you're going to pull a lot of other nutrients. All right. So serve one healthy option. All right. You need to choose your splurge. I think I've already told you what mine is. Mine is mashed potatoes. I absolutely adore them. All of it I like, but we should really, if you're at you should just look at the gamut of the food on the table and decide what your splurge is. This is with an event that you have, open dishes, or you have family style dishes, that you should choose what your kind of splurge. And when I mean splurge, I don't mean like go willy-nilly. I just mean that is your big ticket item. Like if I looked at this meal here, like my big ticket item, most of my serving would come, I would like that mashed potatoes. And then, I like turkey, but turkey is not like high on that list of splurge. Like, so just kind of balance that out. We should have that protein. Obviously we're gonna have turkey. When you make that turkey, just try to be mindful, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, of what we put on it. Okay. We need to take smaller bites, chew them thoroughly, make them last, and so you savor the flavor. If we cut our food, if you ever watch anybody eat at the dinner, I watch people all the time, and sometimes people are mindlessly just shoveling it in because, one, it's so good. Two, they're starving. If you hadn't eaten breakfast or anything and it's all that you smell this food all day long, you're starving. So it's smaller portions, and legitimately a smaller, like a toddler. And if we take that portion and we put it in our mouth and we slow down and chew it, and we kind of let that food touch all of our taste buds, all over our tongue, that is really a kind of way that you're kind of tricking yourself, thinking that you're eating more than what you actually are. Okay, you're making those flavors last. Why do we eat foods? Because they taste so good. And so when they are on our tongue longer, that it has longer surface time. And so we don't end up overeating. That can save us from overeating. So real slow, savor it. Really we should chew each bite of food 20 times. Even in holiday time. So maybe get in the habit of that. We've got a couple of days. Try it today. Chew your food 20 times and see where it takes you. I don't need you to count out loud, but just slow down. Just slow down when we're eating. Okay. This is one that we need to learn. Everybody, we need to listen to our body, and not overstuff. Find where we're satisfied. The great thing with Thanksgiving is there's always a ton of leftovers. And so just slow down, because we can have another mini meal later with some of those things. So it takes a good, 10, 20 minutes sometimes for some people for your stomach to tell your brain that you're full. So if you think about how fast people eat, in 10 minutes, it's all over with. 20 minutes, you're done. Like you can eat a whole turkey in 10 or 15, 20 minutes. It's like those people at shoving those hot dogs, the hot dog eating contest. They do it in like minutes flat. Well, their stomach there's like no communication at that point. And then afterwards, then their stomach it's just complete overload. So it takes a little bit of time. So slow down and savor it. Just make sure that you feel that satiety. Make sure that you have a cue that that, okay, I'm not overstuffed, because we know what overstuffing does. And then obviously we feel bad. And a lot of people get into that tryptophan coma after a Thanksgiving meal, and then they want to go lay down after that. And that's just bad, period. That's just bad for our system, period. People with reflux, like all that stuff it's not good for us. So we just need to kind of listen to our body and listen to those cues. Our plates, when you look at that plate, remember when I said our fist is the size of our stomach, and you just kind of get a correlation, like all that food is really not going to comfortably fit, into my stomach. That's why then our stomach knows to stretch. It compensates for that. Okay, so just try to listen to those cues of satisfaction. Okay, be mindful of alcohol. All right, alcohol is yummy. Alcohol is fun. Alcohol is just wasted calories. So if we looked at that plate in the beginning, I don't believe I had alcohol on that plate. I don't believe there was one, but alcohol, again, it's empty calories. A glass of wine can have, it depends on what kind of wine, it can have anywhere from 80 to 100 calories. If it's a mixed drink, you know, if you have mimosas in the morning, you know, if you come over and or mimosas with your breakfast, you know, what's in a mimosa? You have champagne and you have orange juice. So orange juice, there's 60 calories in a half a glass, not to mention the champagne. So one mimosa, two mimosa, and that adds up. That will add up more quickly than the food that we consume. So a trick, I'm not saying not to have it, because don't tell me not to have a glass of wine don't do that, because it's not going to happen. But you try to hydrate in between. And that's the key right now, is because this day we become mostly dehydrated because of the sodium content. We're going to hit that in a minute. And with all the alcohol that we consume and the volume of food. So if we can practice hydration, that's gonna make you feel better the next day, because if you're more hydrated. So I always, if I have a glass of wine, I have a glass of water. If I have another glass of wine, I have water. So I mix water, or I'll have my water and wine at the table and I'll take a sip and I'll take a sip of water. Just because one, alcohol is dehydrating, or, you know, I could sit there and just keep pouring the wine. I mean, how they do it. Some restaurants just keep filling up. It's an endless bottle of wine or glass of wine. You just have to be mindful of that. I'm not saying not to consume it, but those calories can add up super quickly. Okay. Salt. All right. So sodium is there. Sodium is something that is an acquired taste. We're born not really wanting salt or sugar for that matter. But society and what our marketing and everything nowadays, how we package food and how shelf life of a lot of these foods, you know, the sodium content has gone up. And, you know, salt, what does salt do? Salt does bring out the flavor of foods. It does. But what I recommend doing is undersalting as you're cooking. And then some of my friends just can't say it, but you don't salt when you're cooking. And then at the table, you can allow yourself to salt a little bit. I know that it's a different flavor. You know, I get my friends that are like, that you cook the salt in it and it's different. But when you sprinkle, you can sprinkle, and I usually recommend just getting a really ultra fine sea salt if you have that at the table, because that spreads farther than the big granules. So if you have a little bit of sea salt, you can sprinkle it on those things that you feel need that extra salt. But don't add it as you're cooking, because you add too much salt on that end, you can't take it away, or you know, it's already in that food. So I can't eat that food, or if I'm going to eat that food, I have no control of how much sodium is in there. And again, the dehydration with the sodium. So that's the other reason that we stay hydrated, is to help flush out some of the extra salt that we have. That day, it's just given that we're going to have that extra sodium, but the sodium content of that one meal can completely blow us out of the water. It can be in the upwards of 5,000 milligrams, if not more, of sodium. And what we really want you to have in a day is about 1,500 milligrams, no more than 24. So, so that meal, that salt in that meal does contribute to what we feel like, the bloating and the miserableness after and days after. So just be mindful of that. Turkeys, you know, turkeys can be, you know, self-basting turkeys, that there's sodium in those. So we don't need to add any extra to that at that point. I just generally some pepper would be good, I believe. And then, you know, you can massage that the bird down with, even if it's a little bit of mixture of butter and olive oil, so you get that flavor of the butter, but don't do all butter, you know, don't do exclusively just all of that, because that will save on the saturated fat grams without cutting back on the flavor of everything. So be mindful of the salt. Okay. I'm going through these really fast. All right. So exercise. We don't forget to exercise, especially on this day. You know, we looked at the calories. I'm going to try to flip back to the calories. So what I usually say is on days like Thanksgiving or weekend days that we know that we're not going to be really great with, monitoring, or, we know that we're going to have more calories. Weekend days, we always have more calories. And that's why I tell people that's when you exercise more on the weekends or longer periods of time or burn more calories. So it kind of can offset the calories that we're consuming. But if we look, I'm going to try to flip back. Let's see if Lisa can do this. Okay, so just some common things in here. Let's pick on something. Okay, just a cranberry sauce, innocent cranberry sauce, 1/4 of a cup of innocent cranberry sauce. It's at 110 calories. All right, so in order to burn 110 calories, you burn on average, now it depends on weight, and it depends, on average, you burn about 100 calories with every mile that you walk/run. It will vary, but let's just keep that in mind. So, going for a walk. All right, so I'm going to walk a mile. All right, then that gives you 1/4 of a cup of your cranberry sauce. Or let's say, that pecan pie, 603 calories, yummy pie with whipped cream on top. So that's going to take about 6 miles to burn that 600 calories. So the only thing that I'm saying is just get out there and move, and especially after your meal, after cleanup, instead of sitting down, that would be a good time just to go for a walk, a light walk. Obviously, you're not going to jog or run or do anything like that. You can go for a bike ride. You can play ball in the yard. But that serves two purposes. One, that when we sit down, that's when that food coma hits, and we're just done. All the tryptophan from the turkey, all that food is just your system is just overloaded. So one, it'll prevent from taking a nap, because that's the worst time to take a nap, actually, right after you eat that meal. And then two, it's gravity, so we got that big clump of food in our stomach. So moving around, gravity is going to help kind of pull it through, so it doesn't just stay there like a big rock. And then two, you're going to burn those couple extra calories. So we're gonna do that. Sorry, I'm not sure. I think that might be it. Oh, yeah, we finished that one quickly. All right, so I would just like to end on fun sometimes, but so that's it. I like that little cartoon. There are so many of them, but the take home message that I want you really to take home is just mindfulness. It is a day to celebrate, and I know that this year is really hard because we might not be with our family and friends, and we might treat ourselves a little, I deserve this, it's, COVID, and I can't be with my family. But we have to really just think about the repercussions of that on the back end. This COVID, we were just talking prior to going live about our January lecture, and COVID-15, how do we get off this 15 pounds that we've gained through COVID? So sometimes when people will say, screw it, I already gained 15 pounds with COVID, it's just one more meal, it's just one more, I'll worry about it in January. Well, when we have that kind of attitude, then what happens is you'll gain a lot more, and you just cut out the mindfulness. And then on the back end, January is just a torture of a month for a lot of people just for that reason. So we don't want to go down that road, but that's going to be a fun lecture. We'll talk about that in January, how to work with that. But we don't have to, during the holidays, gain extra weight. That's the take home message with that. Just being a little bit mindful. So I finished like quickly. I talk really fast today. It's hard when there's nobody asking questions as I'm talking.
No, it's all good. It's all good. We actually don't have any questions today. But I think it was just an excellent presentation, and just a lot of great things that we probably most of us know. We just need to
it's just practicing. It's a beautiful day. It is. I've always loved Thanksgiving.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. And we appreciate the information you shared with us. So since there's no Q&A, there is a Q&A, but there's no questions. Oh, wait. Oh, there's a question. What's the best way to fix Brussels sprouts?
Okay, so that's an excellent. So what I do with mine, now I'm not the best, this is what I do when I like it. I slice them in half. I steam them for just like a quick minute just to loosen it up a little bit. And then I will saute them with a little bit of olive oil. And then I finish it with some balsamic vinegar. And then I take really a little bit of fresh, that's the key, fresh Parmesan, and just as I put it in a plate, present it, I just shred some over the top of Brussels sprouts. That's one way, because there's nothing in, if you're really mindful of how much, olive oil is good. We need those monounsaturated fats, but there's really nothing else. Either that, sometimes I will roast them, but at Thanksgiving, I do the balsamic vinegar. They are great roasted though, amazing roasted with a tiny little bit of pepper and a little bit of olive oil and 350. And then you just do it until, I like them charred. So I just do it for, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. It depends. But those seem to be the upcoming vegetable. I mean, not upcoming. They have been around for a while at Thanksgiving because nobody really likes. I love them, but they're not during the year. I don't see a lot of people munching on Brussels sprouts. That's like the least, but.
Yeah. They're becoming cool. They're becoming cool, I think.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All the restaurants are like putting them on the menu as appetizers now.
Yes.
They're good.
I had some last night. So here's another question.
Okay.
What other vegetables would you like for Thanksgiving would you recommend that are good?
Okay. Carrots are always good. We saw some steamed carrots. I would actually roasting them. If you have room in the oven at that time, that's the thing is there's not a lot of space. So carrots are a good one because carrots, they have a lot of the beta carotene in them. We have the sweet potatoes, and the traditionally the sweet potato souffle. I didn't know about that. I mean, until I moved to Georgia and lived there. We just had, we had the candied ones with the heavy syrup and stuff on them, which I call those adulterated. So we need them unadulterated. I would love just to do steamed green beans. Flash, do the green beans again, like the Brussels sprouts, just in a saute, hardly any oil, steam them a little bit, hardly any oil, flash them, and then some slivered almonds, not candied or anything, and that's it. That's perfect. That combination of the green bean and the almond is phenomenal, and that's really easy. That's an easy one. But carrots, other things you can get unique and you can try. Squash, though they're starchy, like a winter squash would be phenomenal, or just roast zucchini squash and the yellow squash. Those would be good. Any of those. Roasting is real easy. Doesn't take a lot of effort. It just takes space in the oven, and that's where I lack. I don't have a lot of space in the oven, so.
Yeah.
You got to plan that one out, but.
So somebody asked, what's your Thanksgiving 2020 menu? I don't know if that means your personal or what you recommend.
Oh, all right. So my personal one obviously is going to have the turkey. Obviously, we know it's going to be mashed potatoes. When I was a little kid, we always had at the table, and my aunt always brought black olives, and I would put one black olive on each finger. I love those. I would put how much I love mashed potatoes. I put my mashed potatoes, I stuff it in a black olive and eat them because I could eat a whole can of those when I was little. So, but I'm going to do Brussels sprouts, and we're going to do turkey. I'm not the best dressing, so I'm going to give that job to somebody else. I don't make the best. And then I always have corn. That's my thing. And then I'm going to probably do a big fruit salad. I'll do more of kiwi. I have a taste for the kiwi, raspberries, and bananas are a good combination. That's a good combo. So it's kind of cleans the palate in between. I will have gravy. There's always gravy. I make really good gravy. That's what I'm known for. But I don't overindulge it. You cannot cut corners with gravy. You can be mindful. You can really watch it. But there's some things that you can't. That's why, I used to give this lecture. And we used to talk about cutting all this fat here and changing this there. I found this recipe for a green bean casserole. And it's just I would rather have a little bit of the really good, feel-good foods than a whole plate of something that doesn't do a thing for me. that's just how I like to look at that. And so I would rather go exercise more to have a little bit more of what I really like. So, but it should be your meal. So what should I recommend? Obviously you need a protein. If we're going to break it down to protein, carbs, and fat, you need your protein, which is your turkey, your carbohydrates, which, you know, again, on my plate is the potatoes, is the corn. You know, you can have rolls, that's all carbohydrates. And then you should fill it up with some color. So your vegetables should be there. And then you don't have to worry about getting fats in. You get enough fats. You don't have to like manage and say, I need to get some healthy fats in here. But the more that you cook with and use the olive oil instead of the butters, you use the combination of both, that will decrease the amount of saturated fat, still give you a little flavor of that butter, because we all love the flavor of butter. And then that you'll get some of those monounsaturated fats benefits from the olive oil. So, and then, you know, the desserts are where that's the hard part. And so we just have to just look at the smorgasbord of desserts. You know, I like itty bitty servings, like mini cupcakes or mini like little pecan pie tarts, that kind of stuff. Because then you could try even a half of those and still get the benefit of it. But you have to, you know, it's pecan pie and pumpkin pie. That's what we have. I mean, that's what we grew up on. And I only have them once a year, Thanksgiving. So I eat them. I just don't eat them a whole lot. I eat them. I don't eat them.
It's okay. We don't have to have confessions.
I'm only human. Like, see, like that's what I don't want people to say like, you know, but I do. I eat it. That's why I'm not going to sit here and tell you don't eat it. That's not my job. My job is to like help you manage like how we can eat it and still be happy at the end of that day. And that's what it's all about, you know, especially right now in 2020.
Yes. One of the comments was that they love your idea of portion control, and they try to serve dinner in small plates.
Yes, that was I was just going to say, get the smaller plates out. You know, you can put your big gorgeous plates out and they can be kind of like the underneath your actual serving size plate. It'd be gorgeous, a gorgeous place setting. Yeah. So yeah, when people generally, they'll take that roll, like their dinner plate or salad plate and put it there and then fill up. I've watched people eat, you know, it's kind of part of my job. And just to make, you know, just to slow down. We just need to slow. And that's the biggest thing I really feel. If you let that food linger in your mouth, especially the desserts, you will be satisfied. Because we don't eat a dessert to satisfy our hunger pains. I hope that we're not eating pie as a meal, but that's our dessert. That's our after party. And so you don't really need a whole lot of it. What you're wanting is that, oh my God, it's like the feel on your tongue and the flavor of that, like the sugar and the fat and all of that. And so we, you know, small bites and just let it hit every aspect of your tongue. And drink water. And coffee without Bailey. Well, I shouldn't say that. So coffee. Just enjoy mindfully.
Thank you, Lisa. Oh, well, every time I'm about to end, that's
great. Questions are great. This is a fun topic. Like, it's silly.
No, this is just a comment. Savor the flavor is the key. And they're saying thank you, Lisa.
You're so welcome. Savor it. And all the herbs and spices out there. Oh my gosh, there's so many that pop out that flavor. So
absolutely.
We know during this time of year what they are. So
yeah.
Now I'm hungry.
I know. I think we're all going to go. It's about lunchtime. We're all going to go have a well-portioned size meal.
Yes, and we can start chewing and letting all that food practice now, because you don't want to learn it at the table, because everyone will be like, what are you doing with your food?
That is true. True.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, as always, you make it fun, and we enjoy having your beautiful, bright smile and energy.
Thank you.
on our monitor. So thank you for your time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone that joined us today. We will be posting this later today, so feel free to go back and watch it. We do offer individualized one-on-one appointments with Lisa. So if you're interested in that service or any other services that Turning Point offers, counseling or our physical therapy, please reach out to us at staff@myturningpoint.org, or just call us and we will make sure to get you scheduled. And if there's any questions you have that were not answered here or you think of later, just email us, staff@myturningpoint.org, and we'll make sure to answer your questions. So we appreciate your time. Turning Point, as it's mentioned, we are committed to the recovery of breast cancer patients through survivorship education. And if you wish to make a donation, go to myturningpoint.org and spread the word. Just let your friends and family, your community, your businesses know about Turning Point and what we do and how we're here to help the community, specifically the breast cancer community. So we thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.